Welcome to uCertify CompTIA Network Plus N10-009 Must-Know Glossary Terms.
Part 5. Term, Spanning Tree Protocol, STP. Definition, defined by the IEEE 802.1d standard, a protocol that allows a network to have redundant Layer 2 connections while logically preventing loops, which could lead to symptoms such as broadcast storms and MAC address table corruption.
Term, speed. Definition, a measure of the data send rate. For example, Cat6 media supports a maximum speed of 10 Gbps.
Term, speed tester. Definition, software or hardware that is designed to test the true speed of a link, which will vary from the advertised theoretical maximum bandwidth of the technology.
Term, spine and leaf. Definition, a newer network topology that consists of just two layers, a spine layer and a leaf layer.
Term, split tunnel. Definition, a type of VPN design that has some traffic, only the required traffic, sent to another enterprise location, and the remainder of traffic sent out an internet connection or other destination. See also full tunnel.
Term, star topology. Definition, a network topology that has a central point, for example a switch, from which all attached devices radiate. Term, state transition modulation. Definition, an approach of representing binary digits in which the transition between a voltage level, for example going from a state of no voltage to a state of voltage or vice versa on a copper cable, or the transition of having light or no light on a fiber optic cable, is represented as a binary 1. Having no transition in a voltage level or light level from one time period to the next is represented as a binary 0. Term, stateless address auto-configuration, SLAC. Definition, a method that allows devices to automatically configure their IPv6 addresses and network settings without a central server.
Term, static routing. Definition, a method of manually configuring a network route by specifying fixed paths for data packets to travel within a network.
Term, storage area network, SAN. Definition, a specialized network for the storage of data. Term, straight tip ST connector. Definition, a connector used with fiber optic cables that utilizes a bayonet-style plug and socket. Term, structured query language, SQL, server. Definition, a relational database management system designed to store, retrieve, and manage data for various applications using structured query language, SQL. Term, sub-interfaces. Definition, logical interfaces that can be created under a physical device interface. Term, subnetting. Definition, the process of dividing a larger IP network into smaller, more manageable subnetworks, subnets, to optimize routing and improve network performance and security. Subscriber connector, SC, a fiber optic connector with a push-pull latching mechanism that provides quick insertion and removal while ensuring a positive connection. Term, supervisory control and data acquisition, SCADA. Definition, a system used for monitoring and controlling industrial processes, infrastructure, and facilities by collecting real-time data from sensors and devices, enabling remote management and automation. Term, suspended. Definition, a state in which a network port has been temporarily disabled or blocked, preventing any data traffic from passing through until it is reactivated or reset. Term, switch. Definition, a network device that learns which devices reside off which ports, interrogates traffic to see where it's destined, and forwards the traffic out the appropriate port, and not out all the other ports. Term, switch virtual interface, SVI. Definition, a logical interface on a network switch that allows for the routing and management of traffic between VLANs. Term, syslog. Definition, a logging solution that consists of two primary components, syslog servers, which receive and store log messages sent from syslog clients, and syslog clients, which can be a variety of network devices that send logging information to a syslog server. Term, syslog collector. Definition, a centralized server or application that gathers, stores, and manages log messages generated by network devices, servers, and applications for monitoring, analysis, and troubleshooting purposes. Term: tabletop exercises. Definition: simulated discussion-based sessions in which team members review and practice their roles and responses to hypothetical disaster scenarios to test and improve an organization's disaster recovery plan.
Term: tailgating. Definition: a social engineering attack in which the attacker follows a valid employee through a secured area of an organization.
Term: TAP, test access point. Definition: a hardware device that provides a way to monitor and capture data traffic on a network by copying packets passing through a specific point, allowing for analysis without interrupting the flow of traffic. Term: TCP flags. Definition: a field in TCP headers used to indicate a particular connection state or provide additional information. It is often used for troubleshooting purposes or to control how a particular connection is handled. Term: TCP header. Definition: a data packet header that contains 10 mandatory fields totaling 20 bytes or octets. The header holds information about the connection and the data currently being sent. Term: TCP IP stack. Definition: a 4-layer model, as opposed to the 7-layer OSI model, that targets the suite of TCP IP protocols, also known as the DoD model because it was developed by the U.S. Department of Defense. Term: TCP dump. Definition: a common packet analyzer that is run at the command line. It allows the user to display TCP IP and other packets being transmitted or received over a network to which the computer is attached. Term: telnet. Definition: a method of remote access for network devices that does not provide any security mechanisms. Term: temperature. Definition: a measure of the average kinetic energy of the particles in a substance, indicating how hot or cold the substance is. Network devices specify optimum temperature values to ensure they are not damaged. Term: templates. Definition: used in IAC to define infrastructure resources in a reusable and consistent manner. Templates can include variables, allowing for parameterization and flexibility in resource configurations. Term: Terminal Access Controller Access Control System Plus, TACACS Plus. Definition: a TCP-based protocol used to communicate with an authentication, authorization, and accounting AAA server. Unlike Radius, TACACS Plus encrypts an entire authentication packet rather than just the password. TACACS Plus is a Cisco proprietary protocol. Term: text, TXT. Definition: a DNS record for arbitrary text or machine-readable data. Term: threat. Definition: a realistic attack that might possibly occur against a network. Threats often target network vulnerabilities. Term: 3-tier hierarchical model. Definition: a classic network design that consists of a core layer, a distribution layer, and an access layer. Term: throughput. Definition: a measure of the successful data send rate between systems. Term: time protocols. Definition: standardized methods for network devices to synchronize their clocks accurately. Term: time to live, TTL. Definition: a field in an IP header that is decremented once for each router hop. If the value in a TTL field is reduced to 0, a router discards the frame and sends a time-exceeded Internet Control Message Protocol (ICMP) message back to the source. Term: time-based authentication. Definition: a security method that uses temporary, time-sensitive codes to verify a user's identity. Term: time division multiplexing. Definition: a method of transmitting different communication sessions, for example, different telephone conversations in a telephony network, on the same physical medium by allowing sessions to take turns. For a brief period of time, defined as a time slot, data from the first session is sent, followed by data from the second session. This continues until every session has had a turn, and the process repeats. Term: Toner. Definition: a tool used in network cabling to trace and identify individual wires or cables by sending a tone signal through the cable, which is then detected by a handheld probe. This tool is sometimes called a toner probe. Term: top-to-bottom troubleshooting. Definition: a troubleshooting methodology in which the engineer starts at the application layer of the OSI model and works down, trying to determine the problem. Term: traceroute/tracert. Definition: a Unix tracer route or Windows tracert command that displays every router hop along the path from a source host to a destination host on an IP network. Information about the router hop can include the IP address of the router hop and the round-trip delay of that router hop. Term: traffic analysis. Definition: the process of examining data packets and network flows to monitor, diagnose, and optimize network performance and security. Term: transceiver. Definition: a device that makes it possible to uplink one Ethernet switch to another if different connectors, for example MMF, SMF, or UTP, for different installations are required. Term: transmission control protocol, TCP. Definition: a connection-oriented transport protocol that provides reliable transport, in that if a segment is dropped, the sender can detect that drop and retransmit that dropped segment. Specifically, a receiver acknowledges segments that it receives. Based on those acknowledgments, a sender can determine which segments were successfully received. Term: transport agnostic. Definition: a feature of the SD-WAN that means it can leverage any available connectivity option, such as broadband, MPLS, LTE, or even satellite links. Term: transport layer, OSI model. Definition: Layer 4 of the OSI model, which acts as a dividing line between the upper layers and the lower layers. Specifically, messages are taken from the upper layers, layers 5 to 7, and encapsulated into segments for transmission to the lower layers, layers 1 to 3. Similarly, data streams coming from lower layers are decapsulated and sent to layer 5, the session layer, or some other upper layer, depending on the protocol. Term: transport layer, TCP/IP stack. Definition: similar to the transport layer of the OSI model, the transport layer of the TCP/IP stack is responsible for end-to-end communication between applications, providing services like error recovery, flow control, and data segmentation. It uses protocols like TCP, connection-oriented, reliable, and UDP, connection-less, lightweight. This layer ensures proper data delivery to the appropriate application processes on the destination device. Term: transport layer security, TLS. Definition: a security protocol designed to ensure privacy between communicating client-server applications. Term: traps. Definition: an unsolicited SNMP message sent from a managed device to an SNMP manager that notifies the SNMP manager about a significant event that occurred on the managed device. Term: trivial file transfer protocol, TFTP. Definition: a file transfer protocol that does not have the security or error checking of FTP. TFTP uses UDP as a transport protocol and therefore is connectionless. Term: trusted zone. Definition: a network segment deemed secure, with strict access controls to protect sensitive resources and data. Term: tunneling. Definition: the process of transmitting traffic with additional encapsulation. Term: twin-axial cable. Definition: a type of cable similar to coaxial cable, but with 2 inner conductors instead of 1. Term: twisted pair. Definition: today's most popular media type, in which individually insulated copper strands are intertwined into a twisted pair cable. 2 categories of twisted pair cable are shielded twisted pair, STP, and unshielded twisted pair, UTP. Term: UDP header. Definition: in a UDP datagram, a header that contains 4 fields: source port, destination port, length, and checksum, totaling 8 bytes. Term: unicast. Definition: a one-to-one communication flow. Term: Uniform Resource Locator, URL, filtering. Definition: restricts access to specific websites by allowing or blocking URLs based on predefined security policies. Term: uninterruptible power supply, UPS. Definition: an appliance that provides power to networking equipment in the event of a power outage. Term: unshielded twisted pair, UTP. Definition: cabling that blocks electromagnetic interference, EMI, from the copper strands making up a twisted pair cable by having more tightly twisted strands, that is, more twists per centimeter. Because these strands are wrapped around each other, the wires insulate each other from EMI. Term: untrusted zone. Definition: a network segment with higher risk, such as external networks, where security threats are more likely, requiring stringent controls to protect internal systems. Term: upgrades. Definition: the process of updating infrastructure components, such as software versions, configurations, or hardware specifications, to newer versions or improved states, while maintaining the infrastructure's code-based management and deployment. Term: User Datagram Protocol, UDP. Definition: a connectionless transport protocol that provides unreliable transport, in that if a segment is dropped, the sender is unaware of the drop and no retransmission occurs. Term: validation tests. Definition: systematic evaluations conducted to ensure a new disaster recovery solution meets specified requirements and functions correctly under simulated disaster conditions. Term: variable length subnet masking, VLSM. The process of assigning various subnetwork IDs in a network to issue the appropriate number of IP addresses. Term: version control. Definition: a feature of IAC that enables teams to track changes to infrastructure code over time, maintaining a history of modifications, additions, and deletions. Term: virtual extensible local area network, VXLAN. Definition: a network virtualization technology that extends Layer 2 networks over a Layer 3 infrastructure by encapsulating Ethernet frames within UDP packets, enabling scalable and flexible network segmentation. Term: virtual IP, VIP. Definition: in load balancing environments, an address that is used to provide a single IP address for accessing a shared resource. Term: virtual LAN, VLAN. Definition: a single broadcast domain representing a single subnet. Typically, a group of ports on a switch is assigned to a single VLAN. For traffic to travel between two VLANs, that traffic needs to be routed. Term: virtual private cloud, VPC. Definition: a virtual network environment within a cloud computing platform, such as AWS, that enables users to provision and manage a logically isolated section of the cloud where they can deploy and run their resources with control over IP addressing, routing, and security configurations. Term: virtual private network, VPN. Definition: a set of security protocols that, when implemented by two devices on either side of an insecure network, such as the Internet, can allow the devices to send data securely. VPNs provide privacy, device authentication, anti-replay services, and data integrity services. Term: visual fault locator. Definition: a handheld device that emits a visible red laser to detect breaks and faults in fiber optic cables. Term: VLAN database. Definition: a centralized repository on a network device that stores the configuration details and information about all VLANs on a network. Term: VLAN hopping. Definition: an attack in which the attacker uses Q&Q tunneling in conjunction with the native VLAN feature to send packets into a VLAN from an unauthorized VLAN. Term: voice VLAN. Definition: a dedicated VLAN specifically configured to prioritize and manage voice traffic separately from data traffic on a network to ensure better quality of service for VoIP communications. Term: voltage. Definition: the electric potential difference applied to network cables and devices to ensure proper signal transmission and power delivery. Voltage is crucial for maintaining signal integrity and the functioning of Power over Ethernet (PoE) systems, where specific voltage levels are required to power network devices such as IP phones, IP cameras, and wireless access points through Ethernet cables. Term: vulnerability. Definition: a weakness in a component of software that might be exploited by an attacker. New code might be installed on a network device, a router, for example, and this code could cause a vulnerability. For example, the code could introduce a new feature that permits a backdoor into the device for unauthorized persons. Term: warm site. Definition: a redundant site that can be brought online with minimal time and effort. Term: warranty support asset inventory. Definition: an inventory that monitors the warranty status and expiration dates of hardware assets to manage replacements and repairs. Term: Wi-Fi analyzer. Definition: software that runs on a general-purpose computer or on a specialized device that can perform wireless analysis of Wi-Fi signals. This type of tool can be used as part of a wireless site survey after Wi-Fi has been implemented to create a heat map of the wireless airspace. Term: Wi-Fi Protected Access 2, WPA2. Definition: a security protocol for wireless networks that uses Advanced Encryption Standard, AES, to provide strong encryption and improved security over its predecessor, WPA. Term: Wi-Fi Protected Access 3, WPA3. Definition: a security protocol for Wi-Fi networks that provides enhanced encryption and authentication mechanisms to improve protection against unauthorized access and cyber threats. Note, this version provides many improvements to its predecessor, WPA2. Term: Wireless LAN Controller, WLC. Definition: a specialized network device that permits the central control and management of large numbers of lightweight access points. Term: wireless survey. Definition: a detailed assessment of a physical area to measure and analyze the coverage, performance, and signal strength of wireless networks to optimize connectivity and identify potential issues. Term: WPA Enterprise Mode. Definition: a security mode of WPA2 designed for corporate environments, using 802.1x authentication with a radius server to provide robust security and individual user credentials. Term: WPA Personal Mode. Definition: also known as WPA PSK, Pre-Shared Key, a security protocol for Wi-Fi networks that uses a shared password for authentication without requiring an enterprise authentication server. Term: Zero Trust Architecture, ZTA. Definition: a security model centered on the principle that no entity, whether inside or outside the network, should be trusted by default. Instead, verification is required from everyone trying to access resources within the network, ensuring robust and granular security. Term: Zero Touch Provisioning, ZTP. Definition: a significant feature of SD-WAN, simplifying the deployment and management of network devices. With ZTP, network administrators can configure and deploy new branch devices without manual intervention. Thank you for watching. Learn more with uCertify.